Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, today is going to be the last full day that we have in Newfoundland. We're going to be riding from a little town called Cormac, just north of Deer Lake, toward Hawke's Bay, Newfoundland, where tomorrow we'll catch the ferry to go back over to Blanc-Sablon in Quebec. But boy, we have a big day ahead of us because we're going to be going through the Gros Morne National Park again, and it's absolutely beautiful. If you watched any of my videos from last year, you got a chance to see some of that. But Roy and Sherry have never seen it, so they're in for a surprise. And we're going to stop at a little town on the bay for breakfast before we head up the coast northward. Let's get started here. As much as I'd like to poke fun at places' names, I must say Foundland was a great location to stay for the night. I would much rather stay in a cabin than in a hotel. The restaurant staff was kind and attentive. Oh, and I might add that they had a little convenience store as well. There is a short distance we have to ride before officially entering the park, but it doesn't take long to be able to see the mountains in the distance. Like yesterday's ride when we saw snow at higher elevations, likewise today we see snow in pockets up on top of the mountains. Wow, a view like this just doesn't get old. Like I said last year, I consider the Gros Morne National Park the jewel of Newfoundland. It's just beautiful here along Bonne Bay. For the most part, when you leave Deer Lake on the Viking Trail, the highway follows along Bonne Bay until it hits the coast. Once on the coast, it follows the western coastline all the way north. Newfoundland is a patchwork of lakes, ponds, rivers, and streams, or brooks in Newfoundland vernacular. There must be hundreds, if not thousands, of watersheds here. It appears that Newfoundland doesn't have a continental divide per se, just high ground that causes streams to flow in all different compass points on its travel to the sea. As you can see, we pass by brook after brook after brook. We turn off the Viking Trail and head to Norris Point. We'll follow this road until we meet the wharf again like we did yesterday, before we settle in for some breakfast at one of the local restaurants. I don't really show a view to the right here, but if you could look right across Bonne Bay, you would see the area we were in yesterday. Sherry, Gord, and Roy line up by their bikes to get just a little bit of film at the road's end. As we ride back through town, we go by this little home here on the left-hand side. And as we pass it, we see helicopter number 2. After breakfast, instead of heading back out to the highway, we ride a road that connects Norris Point with Rocky Harbor. Once again, we take the road to its end, and we are rewarded with a view of the bay. Just how beautiful is this? We travel through downtown Rocky Harbor on our way to the lighthouse. At a glance, Rocky Harbor appears larger than Norris Point, with more options for motels and restaurants. The Lobster Cove Head Lighthouse is just a few kilometers away and well worth the stop. It is clear that the staff maintained the property expertly. There is an interpretive center documenting the lighthouse's rich history. There are also hiking trails along the coast, which makes for a great spot to whale watch and fly kites. The lighthouse was activated in 1898 to mark Bonne Bay's entrance from the Gulf of St. Lawrence.
Go.
We are back on the Viking Trail and still in Gros Morne National Park, but we've made it all the way to the coast and are heading north. Though Sally's Cove is technically outside the park, it is completely surrounded by Gros Morne. This charming little village only had 15 inhabitants in Canada's last census. I didn't know this at the time, but Western Brook Pond is a premier stopping off point. After a 3-kilometer hike, you make it to the edge of the pond. A 2-hour guided boat tour can be had that takes you into the fjord, which is a part of the Gros Morne Park. Unfortunately, there are no accommodation for those unable to make the hike. I consider this a missed opportunity to see some of the best of Gros Morne. Like Sally's Cove, St. Paul's and Cowhead sit between park boundaries. We're heading to Cowhead next. Cowhead boasts one of Newfoundland's largest sand beach, with adjacent dunes. We will be heading across the causeway to the, quote, head, an extension out into the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Cowhead is also home to the Gros Morne Theatre Festival. We make a brief stop at the amphitheater to stretch our legs. Like all of coastal Newfoundland, Cowhead is also tied to the fishing industry, as you can see here. We take this gravel road which takes us south through the center of the peninsula here. Eventually it turns into just kind of a grass track. This exploratory ride brings us out to the amphitheater, where we get off the bikes for a little while and take a break. Looking back to the east, you can see the snow-capped mountains of Gros Morne National Park. This is a beautiful area and a good place to do an overlook of the mountain range. Crossing back over the causeway, we head into town and head north on our trek towards Hawke's Bay. Reaching Parsons Pond means we have put Gros Morne behind us, and a coastal ride is ahead of us. Between Parsons Pond and Hawke's Bay are the small communities of Portland Creek, Daniels Harbor, Bell Burns, and the River of Ponds. It won't be long before we're rolling into Hawke's Bay. Well, it's time to kick back and call it a day.
With the door open.
With the door open, and I wasn't compromised. Maybe I was. I couldn't care less. This is before.
I think somebody might have shut the door if they saw it.
This is before mobile phones and stuff, so I really wasn't worried about that.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the conclusion of Ride Day 17. We're still in Newfoundland. You remember from yesterday we ended up at a little place called Cormac, Newfoundland at what shows up as 16B on the big map here. We're right at the gateway to the Gros Morne National Park, and today we had the luxury of not only the park to view, which was a fabulous place, but also great weather, great temperature, sunny, blue sky day, not a cloud in the sky. It was fantastic. We made our way up to Hawke's Bay and Torrent River Inn. Highly recommended stop if you're up in that part of the world. So let's go to the small scale map. I'll show you some of the detail. Again, to situate you again, we were starting out at Cormac this morning, and it was a short hop, but we sort of backtracked along a little piece of the road that we investigated yesterday, but we went on the northern edge of this bay, did a little backtrack into a place called Norris Point, and had a little breakfast there, stopped at a quiet little cafe and explored the area. We came out through Rocky Harbor and entered the Gros Morne National Park. And as I've said prior, it is a fabulous place to ride. It's the pavement is fantastic. The scenery is absolutely spectacular. You actually forget where you are on the planet when you're in this place. So highly recommended place to visit. We went drove through a village called Cowhead. Gotta give it credit to these Newfoundlanders. They sure have fabulous names for their towns. And otherwise, we just basically followed the coastline up, had a good look at the Gulf of St. Lawrence, which was to the west of us. It was a fairly windy day as well, so you had to pay attention to the roads, but nevertheless, it was an uneventful arrival at our nightly destination here in Hawke's Bay, Newfoundland, right here at the Torrent River Inn. And again, highly recommended stop, great hospitality, great facility. And, no problem for fuel or anything like that. So we're just getting ourselves set up for the big ferry trip tomorrow across to Quebec and Labrador to continue on with the rest of our adventure. So stick with us. We'll check in tomorrow with what goes on then. Thanks. Bye-bye now.
Well, we made it to the Torrent River Inn this afternoon, and we've had a good time here. We ate lunch, a late lunch here, and then a light supper this evening. Our hotel overlooks their outdoor patio, which, by the way, is now open, even though the temperatures are in the 50s, maybe low 60s. But anyhow, we had a great time going through Gros Morne National Park. And we did some side trips today, so I hope you like those that Gordon and I didn't do last year. And anyhow, we're getting geared up and ready to hit that ferry across to Blanc-Sablon tomorrow in Quebec. So that's our big trip. Well, hopefully you like this video. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.